What's up, Goxays? It's your Dojo Master, the Eternal Samurai. And in this video, I'm going to rank every boss from Sonic Unleashed. There have been many exciting boss battles in the Sonic series, and while one of the best ones are from games like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Sonic Unleashed also had its fair share of exciting boss fights. All of them from the Egg Beetle to perfect Dark Gaia, there are so many boss fights to look forward to in Sonic Unleashed. But if I were to rank all these bosses, which ones would I say are more challenging? Which ones would I say feel more rewarding to beat? And ultimately, which ones are more fun to play? Well, I'm going to rank each boss and place them on this tier list, ranked from S to F, S being the best and F being the worst. By the way, if this is our first time meeting, allow me to introduce myself. My name's Samic, also known as the Eternal Samurai, and I'm a big fan of all things Sonic the Hedgehog. I make videos regarding the blue blur and everything about him, so if you want to see more Sonic videos from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon. So as I'm ranking each boss from Sonic Unleashed, I'm determining what rank they deserve based on 4 different criteria, and those criteria are 1. Its physical appearance, 2. How much of a challenge was it, 3. How rewarding did it feel, and 4, and most importantly, how much fun was it? Each of these criteria are weighted based on how important they are in a boss fight. The physical appearance of the boss counts for 10% of the score. How challenging the boss was counts for 25%. How rewarding it felt to defeat the boss counts for 30%. And how much fun the boss battle was counts for 35%. I'll rank each criteria on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best and 0 being the worst. Then I'll divide that score by 10, and finally multiply it by the weight of that criteria for a maximum score of 100%. This score will then determine what rank the boss will receive and where it will be placed on the tier list. And just for reference, here's the layout of what ranks correlate to what scores. S is 95 to 100%, A is 90 to 95%, B is 80 to 90%, and so on and so forth. And just to be clear, I'm ranking all the Sonic Unleashed bosses from the Xbox 360 version of Sonic Unleashed. Now with all that out of the way, let's get to ranking the Sonic Unleashed bosses. The first boss we'll look at from Sonic Unleashed is the Egg Beetle. As far as appearance goes, the Egg Beetle resembles more of a stag beetle, and has a round cephalothorax which the Eggmobile that Dr. Eggman's in can fit into. There's also a yellow and green missile launcher at the top and a landmine deployer at the bottom, not to mention 6 green-tipped legs with rockets on them. And most notably, there's a pair of large flexible pinchers with what looks like is the mouth of the Egg Beetle. The overall appearance of the Egg Beetle doesn't look that bad actually. I kinda like it, to be honest. And with that said, I'll rank the physical appearance of the Egg Beetle as a 9 out of 10. Now as far as how challenging the Egg Beetle was, honestly it felt pretty easy. While the Egg Beetle will throw lots of obstacles at you, making it easy to get hurt, there were already lots of rings scattered along the stage, making it easy to stay alive. The boss was also pretty easy to defeat too, because all you had to do was boost into the cephalothorax of the Egg Beetle while the pinchers were open, until its health is depleted. Overall, it was an easy boss, and respectably so, as it is the first boss you encounter in Sonic Unleashed. So in the end of the day, I'd rank how challenging the Egg Beetle boss was with a 5 out of 10. On to the next criteria, which is how rewarding it felt to defeat the Egg Beetle. It was the first boss in Sonic Unleashed, and because of that, we were able to visit the first Gaia Temple, as well as restore the first Chaos Emerald and Peace of the World. So there's a good sense of accomplishment there. As far as during the boss fight itself, we were able to gain experience as we could use it to level up the Hedgehog or Sonic. But other than that, the progression of the boss felt slow. There were rarely any chances to hit the Egg Beetle, and barely any of its health was depleted whenever we hit him. This made it feel like a tedious task after a while, with little reward on the way. Now when I look at how rewarding it was to defeat the Egg Beetle after all, I would give it about a 6 out of 10. Okay, so now looking at the boss battle, was it even fun to play? I will say that it wasn't bad for a first boss, as it was a good way to at least introduce you to what boss battles would be like. The boss was fun at first, but because of its slow progression and how easy it was, it felt a little boring after a while. So with all that said, I would rate how much fun I had with this boss battle as a 5 out of 10. So now, after multiplying the ratings of each criteria of the Egg Beetle boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall grade of 57%, which belongs to the E rank. Maybe harsh, but I feel like it deserves it. The next boss we'll look at is the Egg Devil Ray. As far as its physical appearance, it's similar to that of the Devilfish. The Egg Devil Ray mostly has a teal color with a large number of orange eyes. It has yellow metallic claws with the Eggmobile located on its head, and floating laser cannons acting as the Devil Ray's pectoral fins. Overall, it's a cleverer design and appearance for the Egg Devil Ray, and I'd rate its appearance as an 8 out of 10. Now, as far as how challenging the Egg Devil Ray was, it was a little bit more difficult compared to the Egg Beetle. However, it wasn't so hard anymore when you realized that all you need to do was break its shield and boost straight at it. Seriously, it's just spamming the boost button. Nothing else. Okay, for real, the boss wasn't entirely easy. There was at least some sort of challenge to it, because the Egg Devil Ray would shoot lasers and plasma balls at you in both 3D and 2D perspectives, with the 2D perspective notably being more difficult. But then again, you can recover with all the rings scattered along the stage. So when it comes to how challenging the Egg Devil Ray was overall, I would give it about a 5 out of 10. Now, for how rewarding it felt to defeat the boss, I honestly felt like I was accomplishing something. Given how fast-paced the boss was, it made me feel like I was actually progressing through the boss faster. Which is perfect, because I mean Sonic is all about going fast, you know, with his gotta go fast attitude.
Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast!
And after defeating the boss, we once again visit another Gaia temple to restore a Chaos Emerald, as well as a piece of the world. Overall, because there were more frequent chances to hit the boss, as well as it taking more damage when he hit it, and further progressing toward the overall goal of the game, I would rate how rewarding it felt to defeat the boss as a 9 out of 10. The next criteria is how much fun it was to play against the boss. And honestly, it was really fun. It was that right balance of challenging and rewarding, and I definitely love the fast-paced nature of the boss, as it fuels me with more adrenaline to keep moving forward. And with all that said, I would rate how much fun the Egg Beetle boss battle was with a 9 out of 10. So now, after multiplying the scores from each category of the Egg Devil Ray boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall grade of 79%, which results in a C rank. Yeah, okay, I feel like a C is a little too harsh, and plus, it's already 79%, you may as well round it up. Okay, 80%, it's a B rank. The next boss we'll look at is the Dark Gaia Phoenix. While its appearance mostly resembles a phoenix, hence the name of the boss, he also has some peacock-like features such as a long slender neck and long eye-spotted feathers. The Dark Gaia Phoenix stands out as a very large creature, and after being corrupted by Dark Gaia's energy, the Dark Gaia Phoenix's entire body becomes dark purple as he's constantly surrounded in flames. Overall, I absolutely love the design of the Dark Gaia Phoenix, and I'd score its physical appearance as a 10 out of 10. Okay, so now how challenging was this boss? Personally, I felt like it was that right balance of difficult and easy. I had to go pick up a bowl of water and aim it straight at the Dark Gaia Phoenix in order to get its flames to calm down. And then after hack and slashing it, I had to get the QuickTime actions right. And this is definitely one of those bosses that made me learn how to get those QuickTime actions right. Now, the whole premise of the boss battle may sound easy, but there were some clever tricks that the Dark Gaia Phoenix had up its sleeve. Or its wing. For example, it may use its wings to send a gust of wind, sending Sonic flying back a little and letting go of a bulb of water if you were holding one. It also would send out rows of pinions that would home attack on Sonic and track him over long distances. And if Sonic got hit by them, he would take damage by catching on fire and get immobilized for a moment. Now, after everything I've said about how challenging the Dark Gaia Phoenix was, I would give it about a 9 out of 10 for how challenging it was. So now, how rewarding did it feel to defeat the boss? Well, honestly, it felt really rewarding. Other than that, at the end, whenever you get to go to another Gaia temple and restore power to a Chaos Emerald, as well as a piece of the Earth, we're also rewarded by seeing the Dark Gaia Phoenix return to its original form. And you gotta admit, it's quite a masterpiece to look at. Also, I like how the Dark Gaia Phoenix battle rewarded us with close-up animations of Sonic fighting him during the QuickTime action sequences. Not to mention how fulfilling it felt when Sonic the Werehog would howl after completing that QuickTime action sequence. Seriously, it feels like I would give off a SpongeBob victory screech. Now, while the progression of the boss is a little bit slow, it felt very rewarding along the way and certainly toward the end. and overall, I would rate how rewarding it felt to defeat the boss as a 9.5 out of 10. Now given how challenging and rewarding the boss felt, it definitely made for a fun experience. I also loved the slow progression and pace of the boss, as it gave me time to savor every bit of the boss battle. And with all that said, I would rate how much fun this boss was as a 10 out of 10. And now, after multiplying each category of the Dark Gaia Phoenix boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall grade of 96%, which results in an S rank. Clearly you can see how much I like this boss. The next boss we'll look at is Dark Moray, and the design of this boss is actually quite interesting. It takes on the appearance of what one could say is a combination of an eel and an eastern dragon. It has a set of horns around its jaw joints and another set of horns on his forehead. There are also green spots on its lower belly area, upper back, and on its forehead. Overall, the physical appearance of the Dark Moray is quite clever. Not my most favorite, but I would rate it as an 8 out of 10. When it comes to how challenging the Dark Moray boss fight was, I would say is that right balance of easy and hard, because it felt challenging enough that I had to figure out how to release the shield and avoid getting frozen in place, while avoiding attacks. But once you figure out the pattern, it really wasn't that hard, because all you had to do was summon Grey Fullbuster from Fairy Tail to freeze the heads coming out of the side of the platform. Wait, hang on. That's not what really happened, okay? Here's what you really do. All you had to do is throw tanks of ice at the heads poking out of the platform and beat them up, in order to release the shield on the upper platform. And then after that, it's just hack and slash at the green weak spots of the Dark Moray. Now to add to the challenge of the boss, it did progressively get harder, because after hitting him the first time, the Dark Moray would fall and spin his body on the platform to avoid getting hit, and attempt to get Sonic hurt. And then when the Dark Moray was really low in health, he would use his ice breath to spawn large spiky pillars, causing you to get damage if you were in the way. So when I look at how challenging this boss was, honestly, it did a really good job of that. And I'd rate this category for this boss as a 9.5 out of 10. Now looking at how rewarding it felt to defeat the Dark Moray, at the end like usual we get to go to another Gaia temple, restore power to the Chaos Emerald, and restore another piece of the earth. Other than that, there wasn't really a whole lot to look forward to during the boss fight. Because while we got stuff like close-up animations during QuickTime events with other bosses, that wasn't here for this boss. But regardless of that, I do appreciate that there was at least some sort of effort required to break the shield to get to the boss and defeat him, which at least gives some sense of fulfillment whenever we defeat him. So when it comes to how rewarding this boss fight felt, I would give it about an 8 out of 10. Okay, now most importantly, how much fun was it to play against the Dark Moray? Honestly, it was pretty fun. Not as fun as other bosses, but pretty fun nonetheless. I will say that I do appreciate that the Dark Moray's health would deplete quickly whenever we had a chance to attack it. So at least this boss wasn't overly slow-paced, which helps with that not feeling tedious and boring. And with all that said, I would rate how much fun this boss battle was as an 8 out of 10. So now, after multiplying each category from the Dark Moray boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall score of 83.75%, which results in a B rank. The next boss we'll look at is Dark Guardian. Dark Guardian looks a lot like a heavily armored version of Deep Nightmare. Its non-organic body armor includes gauntlets on its hands, upper arms, feet, and lower legs, with a golden ring around its right wrist. It also carries a large warhammer that's occasionally surrounded by purple electricity. Also, I gotta say, the Dark Guardian's physical appearance very much reminds me of a character you'd find in World of Warcraft. One odd thing that I found about the physical appearance of the Dark Guardian was that he was a lot smaller than I expected him to be. But however, it turns out that he's as big as a Titan in the Wii PS2 version of Sonic Unleashed. For all I know, maybe before the Wii PS2 version of Sonic Unleashed, the Dark Guardian decided to go to the Mushroom Kingdom to consume some mushrooms to grow like Mario. I know that's not what really happened, but it makes sense to me. Okay, but with all jokes aside, I'd rate his physical appearance as a 9 out of 10. So now as far as how challenging the Dark Guardian boss was, it was relatively easy once you knew what you were doing, because all you had to do is just push the blocks scattered along the stage to the moon altar in the front of the stage. But there were some challenges along the way. For example, some of the Gaia minions would push the blocks back, or they would get in your way and attack you. Not to mention those spiked fences that would pop in and out, causing an obstacle in your way of pushing the block. However, it was relatively easy to keep the Dark Guardian down, because all you had to do was just hack and slash at him once he got back up again, which would help you buy some time to get the blocks to the moon altar without him attacking you. However, if you wait too long, the Dark Guardian will try to hit Sonic with melee attacks or summon lightning bolts to strike Sonic. You may also come across QuickTime actions to complete if the Dark Guardian is in close proximity to you after staying conscious while the Moon Altar is being destroyed. However, when I first played through this boss, I actually didn't come across any QuickTime actions, mostly because I managed to keep the Dark Guardian down. So overall, when it comes to how challenging this boss was, I would rate it as a 7 out of 10. Okay, so now how rewarding was it to defeat the Dark Guardian? Well, as always, after defeating one of the bosses, you go to another Gaia temple, restore another Chaos Emerald and another piece of the world. You get the point. But other than that, there wasn't really anything too special along the way, other than maybe seeing a cool close-up animation of Sonic fighting the Dark Guardian during a QuickTime action sequence. But otherwise, there wasn't really a whole lot more than that, so with all that said, I would rate how rewarding it felt to defeat this boss as a 7 out of 10. Now, in the end of the day, was it even fun to play this boss battle? Well, I will say, it was pretty fun. Yet it was kinda easy because as long as you kept the boss down while getting the blocks to the Moon Altar, the boss never had a chance to attack. It would have been nice if the boss battle got harder as I progressed through the battle, and it would have made the boss battle a little more entertaining. But with all that said, I would rate how much fun this boss was as a 7 out of 10. So now, after multiplying the ratings from each category of the Dark Guardian boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall score of 72%, which results in a C rank. The next boss we'll look at is the Egg Lancer. The Egg Lancer looks pretty much just like the Egg Beetle. Wish they could have been a little more original with the design other than just basically recoloring the Egg Beetle. Honestly, I don't really have much more to say about the physical design. I like it, but I guess it would have been nice to see something a little more original instead of just recoloring the Egg Beetle. So overall, I would rank its physical appearance as an 8 out of 10. Now as far as how challenging the boss was, it was honestly harder than I thought it'd be. Now don't get me wrong, because in theory, defeating the boss is really not that hard. Because all you had to do was either just boost at it, or in some cases home attack at it when the pinchers are open, or to get the most damage on the Egg Lancer, all you had to do was the QuickTime action sequence toward the end of a phase of the boss. So once you got the pattern, it really wasn't that hard. But there were some things that made this boss hard and kind of frustrating, honestly. Because specifically on that section when you're running along the wall, it took me long enough that I shouldn't jump even with lasers closing in on me. This would then cause me to fall off and lose lives and restart the boss. I had to keep reminding myself to not jump off that wall, and if I had lasers closing in on me while running across that wall, I had to instead boost to avoid them. Now, I mean, considering the fact that this is one of the later bosses, I guess I can understand why it was more difficult. But sometimes I felt like this boss was a little too challenging for unnecessary reasons. And with that said, I would rate how challenging this boss was as a 7 out of 10. As for how rewarding it felt to defeat the boss, I'm sure y'all are getting tired of me saying this, but you once again go to another Gaia temple, restore another Chaos Emerald, and another piece of the world. But this cutscene was different. We actually got to discover what Chip's background story and origin was, as well as see a very wholesome bonding moment between him and Sonic. Now as far as during the boss fight itself, there wasn't really any reward during the fight. The only reward we got was just gaining experience to level up Sonic or the Werehog, which is pretty traditional for any battle. Now when I look at it overall, even though we weren't really rewarded with much during the boss battle, we were rewarded with a special cutscene at the end of the boss that really contributed to the story of the game. And with all that said, I would rate how rewarding it felt to defeat the boss with a 7 out of 10. Okay, so now most importantly, how much fun was it even to play against this boss? Well, I kinda hate to say this, but it was kind of frustrating that I kept dying after jumping over an obstacle on the wall, causing me to lose a life and restart the boss. And while some gimmicks were a little annoying with the boss, it's also understandable that it was more difficult since it was one of the later bosses. But with all that said, I would rate how much fun this boss battle was with a 6 out of 10. So now, after multiplying the ratings from each category of the Egg Lancer boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall score of 67.5%, which results in a D rank. The next boss we'll look at is the Egg Dragoon. The Egg Dragoon is a red mecha with a design similar to that of a dragon. What I really love about the physical appearance of the Egg Dragoon is how intimidating it looks. Everything about its design, from the bulky humanoid torso, spiked shoulder guards, and a long gigantic drill and 6-barrel cannon for its arms, it's no wonder how this boss looks so intimidating. Eggman really outdone himself with the design of this robot. And despite Eggman wanting to build a theme park, him building this robot really shows that he meant business. If I were to rate the physical appearance of the Egg Dragoon, I would give it a 10 out of 10 no doubt. So as far as how challenging the Egg Dragoon was, I would say it's on the harder side of all the bosses in Sonic Unleashed, which was respectable considering that it's one of the last bosses in Sonic Unleashed. Though it wasn't overly difficult, I'd say it was challenging enough. The main obstacles you had to avoid were missiles firing at you, whether on the platform or falling, getting immobilized by ice, and getting slashed by the Egg Dragoon's drill. Oh yeah, and not to mention the Eggman robots chasing after you.
Look at all those Eggman's robots!
Now in order to defeat the boss, what you had to do was hack and slash at the green targets near his belly area, and afterward do a QuickTime action sequence. While some may say that the QuickTime action sequences are not that hard, I felt like they added a nice little challenge to the Egg Dragoon. One other thing that was really challenging about the Egg Dragoon is that as you kept sinking down into the Earth's core, the platform you stood on would shrink, which would give you less space to maneuver, making it harder to dodge enemies and missiles. Now with everything that was challenging about the Egg Dragoon, I would rate how challenging it was as a 9 out of 10. Now how rewarding did it feel to defeat the Egg Dragoon? Well, one thing's for sure, after defeating the boss, you didn't get to go to a Gaia Temple, restore a Chaos Emerald, or a piece of the Earth like every other boss in this game, so it's an automatic 0 out of 10. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. I hope you knew that I was just kidding, right? But for real though, I like how after we defeated the Egg Dragoon, we got to see the next major CGI cutscene where we get to prepare for battle against the main antagonist, Dark Gaia. Sorry Eggman, you're not the big bad guy in the game this time. Now during the boss battle itself, we did get rewarded with cool close-up animations of Sonic the Werehog beating up the Egg Dragoon during the QuickTime action sequences. Now overall, while the Egg Dragoon boss battle may be a little bit more slower paced, it was definitely very rewarding during the boss battle itself as well as at the end of it. And with all that said, I would rate how rewarding the Egg Dragoon felt with a 9 out of 10. Okay, so now how much fun was the Egg Dragoon boss even? Well, between how challenging and rewarding it felt, I'd say it was really fun. On top of the fact on how intimidating the boss looks, it made it a lot of fun to hack and slash at him. So overall, I would rate how fun this boss battle was with a 9.5 out of 10. So now, after multiplying the ratings from each category of the Egg Dragoon with the respective weights, this gives an overall score of 92.75%, which results in an A rank. The next boss we'll look at is Dark Gaia. In its incomplete base form, Dark Gaia has brown skin with his lower body and torso resembling that of a snake. He also has two thin arms with long neon blue claws and scaly shoulders. His head is much wider than his main body, and is mostly composed of its jagged mouth with a green eye on each side of his head. His central face looks something similar to that of a reptile, with 4 horns on top of it, white eyes, and one large green eye on the middle of its forehead. Dark Gaia also has 7 purple flaming energy tentacles sticking out of his back, as well as neon blue scaly fins that run from its lower back up to his head. And I gotta point this out, but that purple energy that emits from his head kinda looks similar to a mohawk. If you ask me, Dark Gaia's physical appearance looks really epic, and I'd rate it as a 9 out of 10. Now how challenging was it to play against Dark Gaia? It was honestly really difficult. You had to avoid getting hit by meteors that Dark Gaia would throw at you, either by simply getting out of the way, or by striking it in the Dark Gaia Colossus. But be careful, because if you get hit, well, you take damage. Now the meteors are the least of your concern, because what's worse is the laser that Dark Gaia will shoot at you. Seriously, that thing takes on so much damage, so you better do everything to either block or dodge that laser. Okay, we've been advancing toward Dark Gaia for about... how long now? Oh, we made it! Perfect! Alright, now is our chance to hack and slash at this guy. So in order to defeat the boss, what you had to do was complete a QuickTime action sequence when to get up to him, which did add a little bit of a challenge, I will admit. But what was more difficult was when you had to run down a miniature stage as Sonic on the Gaia Colossus, because there were lots of obstacles in the way thanks to Dark Gaia, and you had to make it to the end in a certain time limit. But it's not over yet, because once you get off that final ramp, you have to do a QuickTime action within the time limit. Alright, finally Sonic is home attacking Dark Gaia's eye, just what we wanted to see. Now we just gotta rinse and repeat the whole process 2 more times, and it only progressively gets harder through each phase. So good luck! Okay, so now if I were to actually rate how challenging this boss was, and considering that he is the main antagonist of the game, it would be respectable that he would be the most challenging, so I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Now how rewarding did it feel to defeat Dark Gaia? It was honestly pretty satisfying, especially that we get to see the next major cutscene where Dark Gaia transformed into perfect Dark Gaia and rains his darkness all over the earth. And now the moment has come when we finally get to see Supersonic, baby! Now during the boss battle itself, I like how when we finally reach Dark Gaia, we get to see an animation of him, the Gaia Colossus, in the middle of the QuickTime action sequence. It also felt rewarding at the end of a miniature stage on the Gaia Colossus as Sonic, as we get to see an animation of him home attacking Dark Gaia. Now while this boss fight felt like an epic battle, the pacing of it felt a little too slow, but I do like how it rewarded us with up-close fighting animations. And with all that said, I would rate how rewarding this boss fight felt with a 9 out of 10. Okay, so now how much fun was it to even play against Dark Gaia? Well, between how challenging and rewarding the boss even felt, it honestly made it really fun. Yet because of how incredibly challenging this boss was, it was quite frustrating sometimes when I was continually losing a bunch of lives. But one thing's for sure, it felt epic for a last boss before its transformation, and with all that said, I would rank how much fun this boss was with an 8.5 out of 10. So now, after multiplying the ratings from each category of the Dark Gaia boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall score of 90.75%, which results in an A rank. The next boss we'll look at is Perfect Dark Gaia. If you thought Dark Gaia looked creepy enough, get ready for Perfect Dark Gaia. I mean, have you seen him yet? He looks like a legitimate monster. He basically has 4 extra arms and a large mouth that opens up, revealing hundreds of tongues which give way to 7 aligned green eyes, 3 smaller ones on the sides and 1 large one in the middle. He also has 2 long tongues hanging out from each side of his central eye. And in the Xbox 360 PS3 version of Sonic Unleashed, his 7 tentacles also move down his spine and their ends gain more shape, resembling snake heads with small mohawks and a green eye in their mouth. Overall, while the physical appearance of Perfect Dark Gaia looks really creepy, it also shows how intimidating he is. Yet, I will admit I did feel a bit disgusted while watching his transformation from Dark Gaia to Perfect Dark Gaia. I'd rather not think about it sometimes. But with all that said, I'd rate his physical appearance with a 7.5 out of 10. Now how challenging was it to play against Perfect Dark Gaia? Well, first of all, to even defeat Perfect Dark Gaia in the first place, you had to advance toward him as Supersonic, while avoiding the floating meteors in the way. Then you had to take down the shield, which was not an easy task in itself. Because while defeating all those snakeheads that were holding up the shield, you had to avoid that same deadly laser that Dark Gaia used, as well as those meteors that he'd throw at you, and the meteors along whatever path you're going on. And if you think that's challenging enough, try doing that before the Gaia Colossus loses all of its health. But I gotta say, I like how this section took inspiration from Nights into Dreams. After you finally get that shield down, now it's just a matter of doing all the QuickTime action sequences, which was actually not too bad, I gotta admit. While it wasn't as difficult as Dark Gaia, it was still enough of a challenge, but respectively so because it is the final boss in Sonic Unleashed. And even though I lost quite a few lives, it was easy to replenish my lives because I was able to collect a bunch of rings. And with all that said, I would rate how challenging it was to defeat Perfect Dark Gaia with a 9 out of 10. Now how rewarding did it feel to defeat Perfect Dark Gaia? Well, one thing's for sure, since he is the last boss in the game, you got to finally finish the game, as well as see the final cutscenes where we get to save the world from Dark Gaia's darkness, as well as see some very wholesome cutscenes after Sonic and Chip part ways. Now during the boss battle itself, we were rewarded with epic close-up animations of Supersonic charging at and attacking Perfect Dark Gaia during those QuickTime action sequences. Seriously, that combined with the music made for a serious anime moment as Supersonic was attacking Perfect Dark Gaia, and especially as the Gaia Colossus was charging his final blow at Perfect Dark Gaia as we had to mash X 60 times. Wow, that's a lot. Now overall, considering that we got to finish the game and see the last of the game's story, as well as being rewarded with those epic close-up animations, I would rate how rewarding this boss felt with a 10 out of 10. Now most importantly, how much fun was this boss battle with Perfect Dark Gaia? Well, given how challenging and rewarding it was, as well as it being the final boss, it was really fun. Defeating Perfect Dark Gaia as Supersonic made for a really epic boss battle that felt like it belongs in an anime. And with all that said, I'd rate how much fun this boss was with a 10 out of 10. So now, after multiplying the ratings from each category of the Perfect Dark Gaia boss with the respective weights, this gives an overall score of 95%, which results in an S rank. Well, that's all the bosses from Sonic Unleashed, and here's a last look at the tier list for them. Now I gotta say, this is my first time looking in depth at what really makes a good boss fight, aside from them being from Sonic Unleashed. While there were some boss fights that really weren't that great in my opinion, there are a few that really did a great job to make Sonic Unleashed feel like a fantastic game. I really love when boss battles give a great sense of reward given some amount of challenge to the player, especially as they progressively get harder throughout the game. And I overall think that the bosses from Sonic Unleashed did a good job with that. The bosses often challenge the players with having to avoid difficult movesets and mechanics, and completing quick time action sequences while under pressure with time limits or depleting health bars. And despite all the challenges, we were often rewarded by progressing through the story, seeing more critical cutscenes, and close-up fighting animations during quick time action sequences. I sure hope we see these concepts from the boss battles in Sonic Unleashed used in more future Sonic games, as I feel like it would help make them more fun and entertaining. Now what do y'all think? Do you agree with my tier list? Did I miss anything crucial to rank the Sonic Unleashed bosses? And what Sonic content do you want me to rank next? Let's talk in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon for more Sonic videos. Want to show your friends or me how you'd rank the Sonic Unleashed bosses? Then click the link below to build your tier list of the Sonic Unleashed bosses. And feel free to share it in the Discord server. We're a community of encouraging and positive people. And if you'd like to share art, music, memes, or just chat with other Sonic fans, including me, feel free to drop by, link in the description. I also have a TikTok, Twitter, and Twitch, so feel free to check out those too. Those links are also in the description. Want to become a content creator, or are you looking to upgrade your equipment? Then feel free to check out the equipment I use in the Amazon affiliate links in the description below. I hope you find it helpful. I'd also like to thank Chowmix for letting me use his supersonic voice clip.
Supersonic, baby!
Thanks so much, Chowmix, and be sure to check out his channel, link in the description. As for y'all, thank you so much for watching, and with all that said, this is your Dojo Master, the Eternal Samurai, signing out. Eternal for life.